before I passed away. My parents calculated a debt very clearly with me. They said they had never treated me badly in this life. Whatever others had, I had it all. But our family doesn't have that much money left. Your parents are just ordinary people after all. The doctor said your illness fundamentally cannot be cured, even if we bankrupt the family to pay for it. Not to mention we still have to support your older brother through college, then buy a house for his wedding. Without a wedding house, who would want to marry your brother? Kiki, let's not do the treatment anymore, okay, honey? You also want your brother to have a good life, right? We're counting on you. Mom, are we not going home, ba? Your brother is about to take his college entrance exam. If you stay at home, you'll affect him. You wouldn't want to make your parents and brother have to look at this half-dead state of yours every day, right? Then where do I have to go? Where should I go now? The food is left here. Hurry and eat it while it's still hot. What is my brother doing right now? Is he doing homework? Did Mom stew chicken soup to nourish him again? If I were at home, my brother would share 2 chicken wings with me. Then he would eat all of the chicken thighs. But just having chicken wings was enough to make me very satisfied. Don't be afraid, I'm right here with you. By the time I regained consciousness, I was no longer in that scary place, inside that small suffocating room. But I was at the house the boy passed away. Only this morning did we find out he left very peacefully, with no pain at all. Don't know if he was dreaming some beautiful dream, but a smile was still lingering on his face. Then for the funeral matters, just leave the cremation ashes there. Mom, is that uncle who just came? I saw uncle's car parked over there. Uncle Kiki didn't come back with you. Didn't Mom say that she let him go back to the countryside? To play with you for a few days, and then he'd come up, Where is he now? Kiki is staying with your grandmother. The boy said he wants to wait until the summer break ends to come back. Turned out my brother didn't know at all that I was sick. He only knew I often had a fever. Then Mom took me to see the doctor. There's still a whole 1 or 2 months until summer break. Yet he's not coming back and just staying there to play. Oh, why, your brother is not some studious kid anyway. Wow. Just let him play, don't worry about him anymore. Who said so? Kiki is very smart. Since I started tutoring him on his homework every day, his grades have jumped up by 10 ranks. So I have to continue tutoring him properly. Uncle, tomorrow you bring Kiki back, okay? Don't let Mom know. Grandmother loves Kiki the most. She won't be able to bear it, sister. Do you not have a heart? How can you not feel heartbroken even a single bit? The living still have to continue living. My brother was about to enter the college entrance exam. The academic pressure was extremely heavy, but he didn't rush to do exam papers. Instead, he walked over to my study desk. He started helping me clean up. Suddenly, he picked up my literature exercise book and opened it to look. I had actually drawn 2 roosters at the feet of Sushi. The moment he saw it, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. He picked up a pencil and wrote a line next to it. Not studying properly, you little rascal. After that, he rearranged all of my books, very neatly. On my personal notebook, he wrote a detailed study plan for me. He seriously calculated how many vocabulary words I could memorize each day, how much new knowledge I could absorb. Then he recorded each thing, one by one, into the plan. At the end, he even added a small parenthesis vertical bar, noting, "It's fine if you don't finish it. Don't force yourself, just doing better than yesterday is already awesome." He carefully finished writing this plan, then let out a very long stretch. Afterward, he seemed to remember something again, adding one more sentence at the end of the plan. Kiki, people study hard for themselves. I hope you will become better. After finishing writing, he smiled gently. It seemed he already thought of the scene after I saw this line. How encouraged I would feel, and the look of me putting effort into studying. Mom was cooking in the kitchen. When I was little, I liked nothing more than hanging around the kitchen with Mom. Every time Mom cooked, I would be by her side helping her, handing her all kinds of utensils. Every single time, my face was full of seriousness. I always imagined the kitchen was an operating room. Mom was the chief surgeon, and I was the little nurse handing the tools to her. Back then, radiography often imitated a nurse's actions, wiping the sweat for the doctor. I would hold a small towel to wipe Mom's face, which made her burst out laughing every single time. Mom would radiography always affectionately. Call me little nurse, get some eggs for Mom. Yes, ma'am. Just like that, day after day. Mom soon became used to having my company in the kitchen. Cooking was no longer that lonely, no longer too trivial and tedious. People often say when the loved one has just passed away, the feeling won't be too intense. Then when exactly do we suddenly realize that person is truly gone forever? Perhaps it's when Mom finished beating the eggs, and without even thinking poured them straight into the pan to stir-fry, then transferred them to a plate and turned around holding out her hand. intending to take the tomato I brought over. Suddenly, her movement froze. She raised her head. The kitchen was empty, with only Mom left all alone. Even the whole house became unusually quiet. Mom stood dazed for a moment, her eyes instantly filling with tears. Mom clenched her hands tightly, trying to hold back all the cries and emotions inside. Desperately holding it in, Mom tried to pretend as if nothing happened, allowing the tears to flow uncontrollably like that, yet still acting cold as if it didn't hurt at all. Mom took a tomato out of the fridge and lowered her head, silently slicing it piece by piece. Only at this moment did Mom suddenly remember. She had never asked me a single question while cooking. "Oh, Kiki, what do you want to eat today?" Mom only asked what brother wanted to eat. He always said anything. "Whatever Mom cooks, I like to eat." Uncle returned to the countryside to handle my funeral affairs. Uncle brought my body to the crematorium and then all alone, holding my urn of ashes, returned to that small room. By the time Uncle got back, it was already late at night. The surroundings were pitch black. Uncle stepped into the small room. The light wasn't turned on in the room. In Uncle's mind, the image of me when I was radiography alive suddenly popped up, lying here gasping for my last breath, waiting to die. Uncle placed my ashes on the bed, then went to clean up the blankets. Relying on the moonlight, Uncle saw the wall that I stared at every day. On the wall, there were timelines that I carved. I used a small stone to carve each tally mark on it. Next to them, there was radiography, a line of scribbled words. "Once I finish carving this tally mark, Mom will come pick me up to go home." The tally mark below that line of words was only missing one last stroke to be completed. I passed away on that very night. Uncle was stunned on the spot, his eyebrows knitting tightly together. Uncle packed up the blankets, then turned around and left straight away. When he got back home, Grandmother was sitting in the yard, relying on the yard light. Wearing her reading glasses, she squinted and looked at that phone she had used for many years. Brick phone designed for the elderly. She looked like she was throwing a tantrum. I naturally knew why she was angry. Before this, every other day I would call to chat with her. There was one time I waited a full 2 days before calling. "Grandson, you haven't called Grandma for half a month already." "How has it been half a month?" "It has clearly only been 2 days. 2 days, and you radiography make excuses. Why didn't you contact Grandma for 2 consecutive days? If you didn't want to call, then better not call for the rest of your life. Just act as if Grandma is dead." I was made to laugh endlessly by this sulking look of hers. "I promise from now on I will call every radiography other day." Right at this moment, she was holding that phone tightly. Her face tensed up stubbornly, refusing to go to sleep. "Oh, you're finally back. These past few days, your mother kept holding the phone, asking around everywhere. She asked if the phone was broken, or if the phone card ran out of money. Whoever she met, she asked, 'Hurry and take a look for her.'" Uncle naturally knew why Grandmother was like this. He walked over, snatched the phone from her hand, and then helped her walk inside the house. Grandmother refused to go. "Give the phone back to Mom." "What phone? Hurry and go to sleep, Mom." "What if Kiki calls Mom? If Mom can't answer the phone, what then?" "Give the phone to Mom." Uncle remained silent, stubbornly refusing to give it to her. "Kiki and his classmates are about to take their final exams. They're very busy and don't have time, Mom." Mom knows. They have to take final exams, but Kiki won't forget. Kiki isn't like those cold-hearted people who forget this old woman even exists the moment they get busy. He's closest to his grandma. Grandmother stubbornly snatched the phone back from Uncle's hand, holding it tightly in her palm. Uncle's eyes once again turned red, seeming as though he wanted to just lay it out and tell her. But he didn't dare to open his mouth. He really didn't have the heart to, so he rubbed his eyes and said, "I met Kiki today." Grandmother's eyes suddenly lit up, hurriedly leaning in close. "Really? You went to his house today?" "Yes. Kiki said he didn't study well before, making Mom worry a lot, so this time, he will definitely get a 100 on his exam to show Mom." Good. That's wonderful. If that's the case, even if he doesn't call Grandma for a month, it's fine." Saying that, she changed her mind. "No, a month is too long. Tomorrow is Sunday already. He'll definitely video call me." After saying that, she lay down contentedly, pulling up the blanket, keeping the old brick phone under her pillow. Closing her eyes, the more she thought, the more she smiled happily. Dad came home from work very late. When Dad got back to the residential block, it was already 12 a.m. The residential block had long been empty of a single soul. Only packs of stray dogs gathering together, rummaging through trash everywhere to fill their hungry bellies. Right at that moment, a small dog among them suddenly stopped, staring intently at the tall, lean, and exhausted figure in the dark night. It just stood frozen on the spot, watching for a long time. Dad recognized it. Its name was Xiaohei. That was the name I gave it when it was little. Xiaohei almost didn't survive, because it was the smallest one in the mother dog's entire litter. It couldn't compete with its siblings at all, so it got pushed aside. Even the mother dog rejected it. People say animals usually have an instinct to reject their weak offspring. They feel that such descendants have no ability to survive and will die sooner or later. Therefore, they will save the scarce resources to leave for the other healthy pups. That day, I had just gone with Dad to pick up a package to bring back home when I discovered Xiaohei gasping for air in the grass. Clearly, its mother was right nearby, but ignored it as if she didn't see it. I really didn't have the heart to, so I tugged Dad's shirt and asked, "Dad, can we bring it home?" "No way. Your brother still has to study. How can our family afford to raise these things?" I listened to Dad and didn't bring Xiaohei home, but I went down to the apartment building's underground parking lot, used a cardboard box to make Xiaohei a warm little shelter inside, lined with an old blanket I no longer used, and even prepared goat's milk for it. I even used a small electric light to keep it warm. I hid it in an extremely quiet corner, sneaking over every day to feed it. I also looked up a lot of knowledge about raising puppies, knowing that it needed to get vaccinated. The veterinary clinic nearby had free vaccinations for stray dogs. I held Xiaohei and rushed over there, but the vet said Xiaohei had a congenital defect and was also abandoned by its mother, fearing it wouldn't survive until vaccination day. I hugged Xiaohei and sobbed heavily, but Xiaohei seemed to sense my sadness. It stuck out its little tongue to lick my face, its innocent eyes full of worry and grievance. It didn't understand why I shed tears, but I saw clearly that it was trying to comfort me. I shook my head, staring straight into its eyes. "Xiaohei, remember this well. You can do it. You absolutely have to keep living for me." After that, Xiaohei really did survive miraculously, all the way until vaccination day. The vet looked at me when I carried Xiaohei and showed up at the clinic again. He patted my head and then patted Xiaohei's head. His eyes filled with a warm smile. He said love can always create miracles. Later on, Xiaohei grew up day by day, becoming a true warlord in my residential block. It was very good at fighting, not afraid of anyone, but only with me would it cling around and wag its tail. Right at this moment, Xiaohei was standing from afar looking at my dad. It slowly approached, drawing close to sniff Dad's pants legs and shoes, seeming to want to find a bit of my warmth from them. But Dad appeared very impatient, kicking Xiaohei away with one foot, but Xiaohei didn't give up. It ran a bit further away, then a moment later ran right back, carrying a pink blanket in its mouth that was stained with mud and dirt. It chased after Dad. Dad found it dirty and was about to give it another kick, when suddenly Dad's eyes caught sight of the Patariman print on the blanket. Dad was stunned, standing rooted to the spot. That was the blanket Dad bought for me back when I was in kindergarten. I always treated it like a treasure. As long as I covered myself with it, I could sleep very soundly, because getting this blanket wasn't easy at all. I had to beg Dad for a very long time before he finally agreed to buy it for me. Dad was completely dazed, chasing after Xiaohei and shouting loudly, "Why is this blanket with you? Give it to me." Xiaohei held the blanket in its mouth and dashed away very quickly. Dad just kept chasing after it like that, chasing continuously, and then accidentally tripped and fell to the ground. Then Dad could no longer hold it in and burst out sobbing heavily. Dad clenched his fists tightly and slammed them hard against the ground. He wept soundlessly, his throat constantly making raspy, choked-up gasps. But in the end, he still couldn't utter that name. Xiaohei held that blanket in its mouth and returned to its current little shelter. It curled up in a dark corner, using that small blanket to wrap itself up tightly. But it didn't sleep, just quietly stared into the deep, dark night far away. Don't know what those tiny pitch-black eyes were thinking. Perhaps it was thinking about where I went, thinking about whether I would return again, when we would be able to meet again, when it would get to wag its tail again and run in circles in front of me, so happy that it wouldn't know how to express it, only able to use actions to tell me that it has been a long time. Dad slowly crawled up from the ground, dusted off the dirt on his pants legs, trying hard to suppress his emotions. Just as he got home and took off his shoes, Dad saw the small snack cabinet I made for him, out of a cardboard box. Inside, it was filled with snacks that I prepared for him. Every day, Dad came home from work very late. By the time he got home, his stomach was always growling with hunger. He got a stomachache early on because he often left his stomach empty, but he didn't want to cook by himself in the middle of the night. So I prepared a cabinet packed with snacks for him. On the box, there were also sticky notes, written with all of my reminders, marking the flavor of each type of snack. Dad reached out his hand, gently caressing, the sticky notes drawn all over with hearts and cartoon characters. Dad picked up a bag of snacks, sat flat down on the sofa, unconsciously tore open the packaging and stuffed it into his mouth. A moment later, Mom came out from the bedroom. Dad didn't turn his head, his voice raspy as he called out, "Honey, how about we—" The boy is dead. Dad's hand holding the snack bag suddenly squeezed tight. Dad didn't dare to believe it, turning his head to look at Mom. His eyes were bloodshot, his voice trembling. Dad opened his mouth but couldn't utter a single word. But Mom answered for him. "The boy passed away since last night. Why didn't you inform me? We should have gone to see him one last time. At his final moment. We should have been right by his side. So where is he now?" "Cremated." Looking at Mom's cold back, Dad's heart felt as if it was squeezed tight by a hand. Dad's breathing became hurried. Dad ran out to the balcony, threw open the window, trying his best to hold back his cries. But right at this very instant, a vertical bar suddenly felt his own tears were truly shameful. He suddenly realized with what right did he have to cry. Even when pulling the ventilator plug, he was right there. He was also one of the people who made that decision. He hurriedly wiped away his tears, then turned around, stepped into my room, opened the wardrobe, and started helping pack up my things. He brought all the old books in the box under my bed out to rearrange them one by one, carefully flipping through each page. From the fairy tale books I loved most as a child, to the novels I secretly read when I grew up. Still remember back in middle school, I secretly read and got caught by him. He flipped a few pages and said, "What on earth is this?" Thinking up to here, he suddenly smiled through his tears, as if seeing my appearance back then, giggling and acting spoiled with him. Flipping through, he suddenly found my diary. On it, a tiny combination lock was still hanging. Without even thinking, he immediately used my birthday to open it. He flipped through page by page, entry by entry. The very first entry was written when I was only 5 years old. Back then, I sat in his lap to read aloud for him to write down. When he helped me write it down, it was actually him writing on my behalf. The content was, "Today, Dad bought Kiki a diary. In the future, this place will record Kiki's journey of growing up." He just kept flipping further down like that. Inside it recorded nothing but trivial, everyday matters, like what I ate today, what game I played, or which cartoon I watched. Right after that, Dad flipped to a page writing about a certain time, the night Dad had to be hospitalized due to a work accident. At that time, Dad's entire body was wrapped in bandages. His colleagues even made a joke to scare me, saying that Dad was about to die. I remember back then I didn't think about anything at all, just sat flat on the ground, sobbing heavily, making all the adults burst out laughing. Dad hugged me into his arms and comforted me for a very, very long time. Afterward, I wrote in the diary, "Oh heavens, please don't take my dad away. If possible, I am willing to use my own life to exchange for the life of my dad. Please don't take my dad away." Looking at those scribbled lines on that page, Dad's emotions completely collapsed. Dad roundly reached out his hand to caress those strokes. The strokes that, because I was too emotional back then, I wrote with all of my strength. Dad's tears fell like rain. We have all loved and been loved. It's just that too much time has passed, making us all completely forget. That night, Dad took my diary to find Mom. Dad flipped to that page to show Mom, hoping to see a bit of emotion on her face. But Mom didn't even spare a glance. Dad forced her to look. Only then did Mom reluctantly glance over the lines I wrote. Dad was trembling all over, tears constantly falling down. Dad cried and asked Chuhua, "What on earth have we done?" Mom looked at that diary page. That's right, a child's heart is so pure. When they love their parents, that is true love. We were all children once. But are you still a child now, Lin Jianping? Dad fell silent for a long time, then he let out a laugh. A laugh full of sarcasm, meaning, we've grown up. Yet we're not even equal to a child. I think that wasn't what Mom meant. But hearing that sentence, Mom still froze for a moment. She turned around facing away from Dad and closed her eyes. May 12th, Mother's Day, happened to be the second week since I passed away. Big Brother put all his mind into the final sprint for the college entrance exam. Every day he left early and came back, late, not even having time to ask one more question. Why haven't I come back yet? It's just that every time he walked past my room, thinking I was still playing down in the countryside, he would shake his head, let out a sigh, and mutter a line. What a playful kid. That day Mom was cooking in the kitchen. She had long forgotten today was Mother's Day. Big Brother came home, sitting in front of his study desk doing homework on one hand, and occasionally glancing out toward the door on the other. Mom brought the food to the table, but he still hadn't touched his chopsticks, still waiting for Mom to speak. Your dad isn't coming home for lunch today, okay? He nodded. I know I'm waiting for Kiki. Mom's movement froze. She casually said, waiting for what? He's down in the countryside. But Big Brother was full of certainty. He will definitely come back today. He wants to give a Mother's Day gift to Mom. While speaking, he took out the message I sent him before on his phone to show Mom. That was a message sent back in March. At that time, I had already started thinking about what gift to give, even specially going to ask Big Brother. He advised me not to give any gift that costs money. He wasn't wrong. I remember back in the 3rd grade of elementary school, the first time I gave a Mother's Day gift was a carnation flower. Just a single flower, yet it cost a whole 13 RMB. The moment Mom received the flower, Mom scolded me furiously, asking me what purpose flowers even served. I stood there full of grievance, crying until my eyes turned red. I really wanted to say, Mom, I gave you flowers to wish you a happy Mother's Day, but I couldn't utter a word. In my head, Mom's question kept echoing, what purpose do flowers even serve? Since then, I never dared to give gifts that cost money again. On holidays, I only gave handmade things or wrote a card. But back in March, my body always felt uncomfortable. I also frequently had nightmares. Don't know why, but I had a premonition that I didn't have much longer to live. So I really wanted to give Mom a very special gift. Big Brother didn't help me think of any ideas either, and even called me stupid for not knowing how to think for myself. So I sulked and texted a line saying I would definitely give the best Mother's Day gift to Mom. Mom looked at that message with an expressionless face. She took his phone back and said, eat your rice. He has long forgotten it. But how could Kiki forget? He has never forgotten. He was always firmly convinced of that. Right at that moment, Mom suddenly got angry. Mom said, if I tell you to eat, then just eat. No need to wait for your younger brother. He was startled, not understanding why Mom was being so unreasonable, throwing such a huge tantrum. But he knew that usually Mom kept her emotions in check. Once she erupted, he absolutely mustn't go against her. He froze for a moment, then said nothing more, lowering his head to start eating his rice. However, he still intentionally left a lot of the dishes I liked for me. Once full, he finished eating, grabbed his backpack, and left. Mom looked at the remaining food on the table with an expressionless face, but her body couldn't help but tremble slightly. Another week passed, and I still hadn't returned home. The uneasiness in his heart grew more intense. He called my phone, but it never went through, always in a turned-off state. When asking Uncle said I was right by grandmother's side, in the countryside where there was no signal. He chose a weekend intending to go to the countryside to pick me up, but was stopped by Mom. How many days do you have left until the college entrance exam? Don't you know that clearly yourself? It was Mom who didn't let him come back. Mom was afraid he would affect your studies. If you want him to come back early, then focus and do well on your exam. Hearing Mom say that, he didn't dare to say anything more, only knowing to bury his head into studying harder. It's just that every time he looked at the chat window, between the two brothers, an indescribable feeling of guilt welled up in his heart. Also on that weekend, my homeroom teacher suddenly came by to visit. Mom poured a cup of tea for her. Kiki isn't at home. The boy went back to the countryside. I already asked for your permission, right? I'm very sorry for abruptly bothering you, but I want to know the reason why Kiki has been in the countryside all this time. I also hope you can understand our job, because currently the issue of school bullying is quite serious. The school requires us to care about every student taking a long leave to grasp the specific situation. That matter has nothing to do with it. It's because my mother's health isn't good. So the boy went back to the countryside to take care of his grandmother. Oh, turns out that's why. The homeroom teacher didn't ask further, just took out a plane ticket and handed her an invitation letter. Mom received it with a face full of confusion. The homeroom teacher smiled gently. Kiki's mom. Has Kiki not said anything to you yet? Before this, the boy wrote a short story and submitted it to a competition. Mom fell silent for a moment, then shook her head. The homeroom teacher continued. This short story of his won an award. The organizers invited him to the city to receive the award. There's even prize money. Kiki's mom is truly blessed. Kiki especially has the talent for writing. Even though his grades in other subjects aren't too ideal, his language arts grades and essays always score full marks. The organizers said, in the future, if Kiki has any other works, he can send them directly to them. Who knows, he might even get published later on. I stared intently at this plane ticket without saying a word. The homeroom teacher saw that she didn't react at all, so she called out to test the waters Kiki's mom. Only then did Mom snap out of it and nod. Yes, I understand. Is there anything else, teacher? The boy is about to enter the 9th grade. We can't let his studies be delayed like this. Hurry and tell him to come back. Mom nodded indifferently. The exact moment she closed the door, Big Brother stepped out from the room, staring at her. She turned her head, freezing for a moment when meeting Big Brother's eyes. Right after that, she restored her cold expression. What's the matter? What on earth happened to Kiki Mom? Nothing. Then why did you lie? Saying that grandmother isn't well. Why say he's by her side taking care of her? I just called grandmother. She said Kiki wasn't at her place at all. She also hasn't received a call from Kiki in a long time. Mom lowered her face completely, making it impossible to see the expression on her face clearly. But I just called Uncle, and he still said Kiki is with grandmother. Why is everyone lying to me and grandmother? Where on earth is Kiki? What on earth happened to him? Lin Bei, you are about to take the college entrance exam. This is not something you should worry about. Fine then, it's simple. Mom, just tell me where Kiki is. Let me give him a phone call. As long as I confirm he's okay, I will never ask again. Mom furrowed her eyebrows tightly, not knowing how to answer. Seeing Mom's silent Big Brother didn't hesitate for a second, throwing the house door open and dashing straight outside. Lin Bei, where are you going? Where are you going? He directly flung Mom's hand away, running down very fast. The moment he ran down the stairs, the feeling of tension and anxiety in his heart instantly surged to the peak. He rushed out of the residential complex gate, stopping a taxi, telling the driver to head straight for the countryside. The driver was about to bargain with him. He roared, "Go! Ow!" After 2 hours of driving like crazy, he finally arrived at grandmother's house. Grandmother was standing at the courtyard gate, as if she had been waiting for him for a very long time. The moment she saw his figure, grandmother immediately grabbed his hand tightly. Where is Kiki? Why did they lie to Grandma? Where is my Kiki? Right at that moment, Uncle received a message sent from Mom, also hurriedly rushing over to grandmother's house. He looked at grandmother and Big Brother, who were extremely agitated. Seeing Uncle's dodging eyes, Big Brother was secretly certain that Uncle knew everything clearly. Tell me, Uncle, why? Tell me what on earth happened. If. It's just that Kiki didn't listen and ran away from home, or some other minor matter. Everyone would absolutely not hide it from me like this. Right, quote, pipe. Where on earth is Kiki? What's going on? What on earth happened? I beg you, Uncle Pooh. Uncle, please tell me. Uncle couldn't hold it back any longer. He forcefully wiped away the sweat on his forehead and the tears at the corners of his eyes. He looked away. After a moment of intense internal struggle, his heart softened. He lowered his head. I'll take you there. Uncle led Big Brother to the small house where my ashes were placed. I used to stay there, spending countless silent long nights. That day the sun was beautiful. The surrounding fields were full of life. Under the scorching sun, the lush green rice plants held their heads high. A gentle breeze blew by, bringing waves of sweltering heat. The small house, sitting in the middle of that brilliant field, looked strangely lonely. I think when he walked on that small path, the worst outcome he could think of was only that I was very seriously ill or caught some kind of infectious disease, so I was isolated in this place. But he didn't expect another outcome, one that was far more brutal. What is this? He stood frozen on the spot, standing right in front of the small house door, staring intently at the urn of ashes placed on the windowsill, dazedly turning his head back. Then he suddenly burst out laughing as if he had just gone mad, because he had seen something completely unacceptable, yet completely ridiculous. What is this? Uncle lowered his head completely without saying a word. He stood there completely at a loss, dazed like a newborn baby. He looked around, his breathing coming in short gasps. Suddenly, tears just kept pouring down uncontrollably. Then he chose to lie to himself. Where is Kiki? Didn't you take me here to find Kiki, Uncle? At this moment, he was lying to himself, stubbornly avoiding that brutal truth, even though his tears were already falling like rain. Until Uncle moved his lips. Kiki is gone. Nonsense, that's a total lie. Kiki just called me not long ago. He said it was too hot and he wanted to eat popsicles when I came home from school. I bought so many popsicles and put them in the fridge, but then I thought if he ate too many, he'd get a stomachache. So I WeChatted him, telling him he could only eat one per day. If you eat too many, I will never buy them for you again. Saying this part, Big Brother choked up, unable to speak. He took out his phone and played my voice message for Uncle to hear. In the recording, I giggled and acted spoiled. Big Brother is the best in the world. I won't eat too many. I'm very good, Tall. Hearing my voice, he tremblingly gripped the phone tight, his entire body starting to shake violently. He shook so much that he collapsed onto the ground, using his knees to try to stop the shaking. But he couldn't stop his heavy sobbing. He gasped for air, wanting to cry out loud but making no sound. Only a massive wave of absolute grief just surged up intensely like that. Afterward, Uncle and Big Brother went back to Grandmother's house. Big Brother's mood right now was very calm. He hugged Grandmother, gently patting her back. Grandmother, don't worry. Kiki just didn't want to take the exam. So he hid at Uncle's house. I just gave him a good scolding. If he didn't want to take the exam, why didn't he hide at Grandma's place? Kiki also didn't want Grandma to see that he has no future. Oh, so where is he now? Why didn't he come with you? I scolded him, so he is sulking and refuses to come out. Hearing that, Grandmother immediately got angry. Why did you scold him? Just because you study well. Just because you're talented. Who allowed you all to bully him? All right, Mom. Wait 2 more days. Once the kids finish their exams, they'll come back here with you. Don't be angry anymore. You all are only good at bullying my Kiki. You all only see that the boy is gentle, so you bully him. From Uncle's recount. Only then did Big Brother find out that it was the parents who made the decision to give up on treating me. With their own eyes, they watched the doctor pull all the IV tubes out of my body, then handed me over to Uncle. Why did you have to bring him back here so early? Uncle glanced at him and didn't answer. But very quickly after that, he understood on his own it was because of him. It was so it wouldn't affect his studies. Then why did it have to be this place? He was about to die. Why, before he passed away, couldn't you let him stay in a better place? Your mom didn't want to spend any more money on him. Because since he started his treatment, all kinds of hospitalization costs, medicine money, chemotherapy alone already cost over 100 million. You know it, your mom has always calculated every penny carefully. For things she considers unnecessary, she won't spend a single dime more. An unnecessary thing, sad. Do you still remember your grandfather? Back then, your grandfather had a stroke. The doctor said he had a high chance of being paralyzed. The whole family had a meeting. At that time, you were only 2 years old. Your mom held you and said she didn't agree to put up the money because she felt it wasn't worth spending money, just to leave behind a burden. Speaking up to here, Uncle took a deep breath as if it was extremely painful. Lin Bei, your mom looks cold and heartless on the outside. But actually, her calculations, everyone can see they are not without reason. It's just that in terms of human emotions, it's truly hard to accept. Besides, she really loves you very much. Big Brother didn't listen any further, turning around and walking away. When he got home, it was already late at night. Mom was sitting on the sofa completely alone. He walked in and switched on the light. Mom squinted her eyes, raising her hand to block out the light. In his arms, he was holding my urn of ashes. Mom saw that urn of ashes. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly. What illness did Kiki have? Leukemia. How much money did it cost? The problem isn't how much money, it couldn't be cured. How do you know? The doctor said so. The doctor said it couldn't be cured, said it was very hard. Even if cured, it would just relapse. Even if cured, he could never be a normal person. The doctor never said he would die. Why didn't you treat Kiki? There was no money. The money in the house must be saved for you to attend college. Buy a house, get married. If you find a girlfriend from certain regions, it might even cost a lot of bride price money. So in your mind, it's only filled with these things. Was there ever a moment when looking at Kiki that in your heart you thought you didn't want him to die? No. I only hoped he wouldn't linger in misery like that. He himself was in pain. Yet he forced others to suffer along with him. I couldn't take it anymore. Lin Bei, you don't understand anything at all. You fundamentally don't understand what consequences are. Just like how you don't understand how important the college entrance exam is to you. Every day just fooling around and joking. At a critical time like this, you wasted time running all the way down to the countryside. That's right, you are the one who understands best. Those matters of benefits, money, and consequences, you are the one who understands best. But do you still see yourself as human? Mom, I find you truly terrifying. Stand still. Stand right there for me. Lin Bei, you still have to take the college entrance exam. At least I am good to you. At least toward you. I have nothing to feel ashamed of in my heart. Lin Bei, come back here, Lin Bei. On the night Big Brother held my urn of ashes and ran away from home, I visited him in a dream. At first, I only intended to give it a try, not expecting it to actually succeed. I met him in his dream. He saw me, but he just stood there crying and then collapsed right down. He cried break-heartedly. Big Brother, don't cry anymore. You still have to take the college entrance exam. He suddenly got angry. He raised his eyes and glared at me. Kiki, is that all you have to say? You entered my dream just to find me and tell me that I still have to take the college entrance exam. But this matter is really very important. He frowned. Why? I lied. Because in the future, I want to be your child, Mom. So Big Brother must definitely do really well on the exam, okay? In the future, find a good job. Earn a lot of money to buy a high-rise house for me to live in. In his eyes, a look of wild joy surfaced. Are you telling the truth? You will reincarnate as my child? I nodded. Then we promise you must definitely come. I will definitely treat you really well. I will definitely love you 1,000,000 times more. Yes, I believe you. He also believed my words. The next day, he put aside the pain to put all his effort into studying. The meaning of the college entrance exam since that day, to him, became completely different. White Impermanence pulled the chain in his hand, telling me to get ready. I nodded. Then let's go. I said, wait a moment. White Impermanence looked at me. I smiled gently. I beg you. Can you let me look at Xiaohei one last time before I go? White Impermanence smiled. No need to look, saying that he gestured toward my back. I suddenly saw Xiaohei. It was sticking its tongue out, dashing furiously toward me. Xiaohei, why are you here? Are you dead too? It smelled my scent from the urn of ashes that my big brother was holding. It knew I was gone. So it started to refuse food and water. Xiaohei, why are you so silly? Because dogs are not like humans. It never calculates that much, never cares about benefits or gains and losses. What a bright future is, it doesn't even know. It only wanted to know where the person it loved most was, so as to dash toward that person with all its might. Even if the price to pay was its life, this silly dog, does it even know it's dead? We will never meet again. This lifetime of mine to love and not be loved.